This show is brought to you by Optimizer's Masszymes. So if you are taking over 100 grams of protein per day from food but not making the gains that you expected, or you're feeling bloated or gassy and you want to utilize the amount of protein that is in your body, then I suggest that you try Masszymes enzymes, which is the most potent protein digesting enzyme that you can take, especially if you're eating like red meat or some things that are heavier to digest, particularly before bed. The Masszymes can help break down that protein into your bloodstream to get utilized so you can grow bigger, stronger muscle fibers. By improving your body digesting, it allows more resources from your body to allocate for mental and cognitive function. If you want to try out Optimizer's Masszymes, then you go to Masszymes, that's ZYMES.com/Kris, Kris 20 to get 20% off your order. This podcast is also brought to you by Jouve. Now, Jouve is a product and a company that I've been utilizing for over a year now. I use their infrared panels, particularly when I don't have access to the restorative red light that I can get from the sun. And there is a lot of wide-ranging and clinically proven benefits, such as enhanced sleep, reduced pain and inflammation, that I actually like to use and feel and witness from using the Jouve. Now, if you want to try the Jouve, head to joovv.com/Kris and you'll get a free gift with your purchase. So let's get back into the podcast right now and enjoy the show. Well, hello everybody. Kris Gethin here with my beautiful fiance, Sunshine.
Hello.
Welcome to the show again.
Thank you.
How many times is this for you now? 2 or 3 times?
I think this is the third time.
Third time?
Yeah, you must be running out of things to talk about.
I must be desperate. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we are in a different place again. The last time we conducted a podcast, it was from hotel lobby in London. This time you may hear a little bit of background noise again because this time we're at a music festival.
Yeah, we're at Base Canyon.
Base Canyon in Washington.
At the Gorge.
At the Gorge. And we've got a beautiful camp set up here. Sunshine has created a little bit of a hippie commune with the awning and some blankets around here so we get some shade. But I thought this was the perfect opportunity, considering we're camping. This is quite the contrast to our camping experience last week. Now, I have no idea what we're going to title this podcast at the moment because it's just going to be a bit of a chat about our experiences and how you could transfer the possibility of those experiences to put them into a positive or at least be prepared for them.
Yeah, and I do want to put a warning that this is definitely going to be a very vulnerable conversation for me because it has to do about me.
a lot to do without you. So we're pinpointing this content towards Sybil.
Yeah.
So we went, we came back from London, was back for a few days, and then it was my birthday weekend, and we were thinking, what should we do? And I decided, like the day before, let's go camping. We'll go camping in the mountains into my favorite place in the world, the Sawtooths up at Stanley, and that we did. So we went Friday night, set up camp, had a good time. However, before leaving, Sybil was ill. She had a fever.
Before leaving camping, like that whole
before
week
leaving
before
for home.
camping,
Leaving at home.
I was sick.
Yeah, she was sick all week, and us going on camping was dependent on if she felt good or not. When I called to say, what are we going to do? Do you feel okay? Yeah, I feel okay. We'll go camping. Okay, so that's what we did. However, when it got to the evening, the temperature dropped quite
significantly,
considerably. Yeah, probably. Well, it was below. It was freezing. Froze overnight. Freezing. And we were in this little old tent. If you're watching the YouTube channel, you can see this little old tent that we've got here. Not the most expensive tent, but it does the job. It works.
Yeah.
It provides shelter.
Yeah.
And we had sleeping bags. We forgot the mattress the sponge mattress, so we got ourselves a blow-up mattress, so there was comfort there. However, during the night, this was a completely new experience that I'd been that I'd witnessed, where you were very, very cold, you were very, very sick, and all night all I could hear was zip, 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 because you were going out, you were coming back in, you were going to the toilet, being sick or whatever you were doing, and then you're going into the Jeep trying to warm yourself up and then come back in, and what you were doing in that Jeep I don't know, but I could hear a lot of noise going on, whatever. Anyway, but tell us a little bit what was going through your head. You shared it with me the next day. You obviously went into a dark place. Just share with the listeners and the viewers exactly what went wrong for you and what was going on in your head.
Yeah.
Mrs. Vulnerable's coming out now.
Mrs. Vulnerable's coming out. So obviously, we've already established that I was sick that entire week leading up to Kris's birthday weekend. So that's been established. And, not sick where I'm just, at 85% or something. I was, at 20%. I actually took one day off and just, slept. And then it was bad. It was not good. And, but Kris's birthday weekend's coming up. And, of course, I want to celebrate him. And I want to do something. I don't want to just be I'm sick.
Yeah, it's my 45th and it's all about me.
Exactly. This is the one time when I will...
should sacrifice yourself.
Sacrifice myself. So I thought. And when he asked if I wanted to go camping, I was well, actually, I think I actually suggested camping. I thought I'd be fine. I thought, you know what? I'm going to be better tomorrow. But tomorrow came and I was probably just as bad, if not worse, than I was the day before. And I had an upset stomach and needed to be close by to a toilet. I'll just say that. My head was pounding, massive headache. I was cold. I had body chills. I just felt super sore. I was not good. I should have just literally been under the covers sleeping and just chilling out. But here we go camping, and I'm not a camper anyway. So
this is your third time camping, wasn't it?
It was my third time camping.
Yeah.
Third or
and the
fourth.
other 2 times were with me.
Well, there
Or
were...
the music festival once, but that's glamping.
I've been camping before, but not like this. Not with somebody else where you're sharing a tent and stuff like that. And
that's proper camping.
it's proper camping.
I don't know what your thought of camping was, but that's camping.
Yeah, but nighttime, day was great. I thought we had a good day. Got there, found a site, but it was out in the open. I have no idea about temperature changes, and when night hit, temperature just went down, and it got really cold. We did not expect this. I did not expect this, and I didn't have proper clothing. I was not warm enough. I was not prepared to deal with 50 degrees Celsius and below temperatures. And I started to panic because I couldn't sleep. We both went in the tent. It's time to shut the light off, and I just could not sleep. And that started the spiral, because all of a sudden I was thinking, great, I'm gonna feel like shit tomorrow. And tomorrow's the big day when we're gonna really celebrate his birthday.
Gonna go on a big hike.
Gonna go a big hike. I have to have energy. I have to be happy. I have to have a good time. Not that I force myself to be happy, but when you're tired and you don't feel good, you're not fun to be around anyway. So I had that going on in my head, and then the temperature just kept dropping. I still couldn't sleep. I was uncomfortable every single which way, and I forgot to mention, my back was killing me. And it wasn't just muscle soreness, my bones.
Yeah, because whenever you have a fever, I've had a couple myself, I always notice it's the bones. It's the aches and pains is the last place that it comes out.
Yeah, so my bones were just hurting. Unless you felt that pain before, I guess you don't really know what that feels like, but it is terrible. And there's just no position I could be in, on my back, on my side, on my front, nowhere, where I wasn't in pain. And I didn't know what to do to get myself comfortable. And so I started freaking out. Hardcore. And
what was going through your mind then? Are you talking about when you were in the Jeep, trying to warm
everywhere.
yourself up? What was going through your mind?
was just thinking, like, what was I thinking suggesting this? You know, why didn't I just take a stance for the both of us and say, look, I don't think camping's a good idea right now. I know it's your birthday. I know it's your birthday weekend. We want to do something, but this might not be it, unfortunately. Or maybe you should go camping if you really want to for your birthday, you know, and just like take myself out of the equation. But at that point, while I was having all those thoughts, I was also still in the situation. So it's like, even though I'm like, oh, I wish I would have done this, it's like, well, at this point, I'm here. So what am I going to do? And you were really sweet to me, I have to say. So sweet to me.
Externally, I was.
Externally, so nice, so polite, even though inside he was screaming himself. And that was really comforting to me, but that also added to the stress because I'm like, wow, he's being so nice and I'm being such a bitch right now because I just can't get to sleep and I'm disturbing everybody. I'm disturbing you, I'm disturbing Slate. And
Slate's the dog.
Slate is the dog, yeah.
Who was shivering as well.
Yeah, so I was just going in and out of the tent, trying to warm up, going to the bathroom, and then, you know, the bathroom, like in an outhouse. So it's like, go to the outhouse, come back. And then I finally was like, maybe I'll go in the Jeep. Maybe I'll try sleeping in the Jeep. Got in the Jeep. It was so uncomfortable in the Jeep. I had to move things around. That's the noises you were hearing. And then at one point, I just started screaming inside the Jeep.
And I could hear her talking, screaming, crying. I was thinking, what is she doing in there?
Yeah, I had just gotten to the point where I was so angry with myself. It was really just internal, like anger that I was ill, anger that I couldn't sleep. And I just started going crazy. Like,
I think the cold was the worst for you.
and it was very cold. Like, my feet froze. Like, I couldn't feel my toes. And that's when I was like, what the hell are we doing here? Why are we pretending to be homeless right now? What kind of birthday celebration is this? And then, of course, there's the other pressure. Because if you know Kris, you know he's, like, all hardcore and, like, try to be, like, the hardest person out there. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not fucking that person right now. And I'm nowhere near it. I'm very opposite of, like, all these things that he preaches. And so I bet that's getting on his nerves because I would be immediately killed, you know, in this wild survival situation. And that went on for hours. That inner turmoil that just kind of came out through noise and restlessness and anger just went on for hours. And it wasn't until 5 a.m. that I finally fell asleep. And I think finally Kris fell asleep too, because of course he was up. And woke us up, I think. So we had 2 hours of sleep. And we just looked trashed. Like, his face said it all. Just, like, terrible night. Like, he usually has a beautiful morning face, but that morning it was scrunched up. He had folds everywhere. And,
Walked right past.
oh. And I did too. And Slate did as well. Slate also just looks like, fuck you guys. Why did you drag me out to this miserable event? And,
I went right past you guys.
it was weird. One of the things that struck me as weird when the morning came out was that, like, wow, shouldn't have been that big of a deal. There was no need for all of that disaster and chaos that I created, because the morning has come, and it's a new day, and everything's okay. Everything's fine. Like, we weren't dying. We weren't near the point of death. And I could have had, like, a way better attitude about it. I could have really just, like, practiced meditation, practiced calm, done the things that, like, I know you can do when you're experiencing, like, a terrible time. Because it was just in my head. Well, I mean, I was sick. My feet were actually cold. But everything else, the tornado that I created of, like, destruction for everybody's sleep and good vibes was all in my head. And it's interesting how, like, you can, in just the span of moments, turn something into complete hell, only to realize you were one decision away from going the opposite direction. And it wasn't even worth it, because it's like, it's his birthday weekend. Like, everything I wanted to do or was avoiding, I actually fell into. And it just reminds me of like a Rumi quote. Rumi's a poet. I don't know if you know him, but he's amazing. And he just says there are lots of times when we mean to put the water in the cup, but the water spills out of the cup. We don't make our target. And I didn't meet my target at all of like good vibes and having a good weekend because I just spilled my water everywhere. And it didn't, I guess it's like in the end, it's like, wow, like none of that was worth it. I don't know how you felt with that, but
Oh yeah, in the morning, I tell you what, I think you knew by the look on my face and my demeanor the rest of the day, except when we went on a hike, because at least we're moving, I'm getting the endorphin rush and I thought it felt good. But yeah, I'm going to be honest, like in my mind, of course, you know, you're saying I'm not living up to Chris's expectations of being hardcore. I'm going through that as well. I'm thinking that it's, you know, it's condescending, and I hate to admit it, but at that time I'm thinking, damn, why don't you condition yourself for this? But however, you were sick, of course, there's nothing you can do about that, and I feel for you. But obviously it was a very cold environment, and I saw it on the dog as well. Slate, and I think we went to bed on a bad vibe because you wanted Slate to, well, maybe you didn't go to bed on a bad vibe, but I did, because you wanted Slate to sleep in a tent with us, and I'm like, no way. Dogs are meant to be outside, and I don't want a dog. He doesn't come into my bed. He's definitely not coming into the tent. I need to be that alpha male. He cannot think that he's on my level. He's got to sleep outside, and that's fine. He'll be okay. But you know, one of the things, of course, is mental conditioning, but there's physical condition that comes with that mental conditioning. And like, you know, I always have cold showers. I like to get in that cold plunge, and you've started doing it since then as well. And that's the only way that you can condition yourself for the cold. It isn't just mental application. It comes from physical application as well. Much like if you go to the gym and train for the first time, you're going to be so sore. It's a completely different environment. But you do it for a couple of months, you get conditioned to it. Okay, now you know what to expect. It's the same with the cold. You have that cold thermogenesis, you get in a cold shower, cold plunge. So then when you're camping and it's frigging cold, it's like, okay, I've been here before, my body can handle it. I'm not shivering, I'm not cold, because it's conditioned. You know what I mean? So that's why I say, you know, put yourself into these environments where it can condition you, not only mentally, but physically as well. That's just one of them, obviously. And, you know, I think a change of perception in your brain is a huge component as well, because at that time, that night lasts forever. It doesn't feel like it's a few hours. It feels like it's several days, weeks, and you're never going to get out of it. And if you change that perception and think of the people that have been to the war before us, who've had to sleep in the trenches when it's pissing down with rain, when it's cold, because they're not just having war in the summer. They're going to other countries and different environments they've never experienced before. Why do you think they put the army into the ocean, in the sea, with the sandbags, huddled together to experience the cold, to experience the physical demands? So when they go to war, it's like, okay, I'm prepared for this shit now. I'm going to be hard to kill. And that's what you've got to do at home in our environment, because we've been put into an environment now where it makes us easy to kill. We are becoming very, very soft. You know, there's no doubt about it. Can't blame anyone but ourselves and the environment that we're putting in, and the social pressures that puts us into that environment as well. So we got to do whatever we can, whether it's cold thermogenesis or participating in an activity that really hurts, doing shit that we don't want to do, because it conditions us and it has a transcendence effect. And I do a lot of these things, and I suggest them to a lot of people as well, because as we get older, we will become more fragile. We don't want to be that fragile older person. So we've got to do whatever we can now to continue to condition ourselves for all of these unexpected eventualities, because camping is only one of them. There will be a lot more that comes your way and my way. So the more that we can condition ourselves to those adaptive situations, the better we're going to be prepared for them, you know. And, you know, that mental, because I know exactly what you mean when you put yourself into a dark place. You've seen how anxious I get if something isn't delivered on time. If I'm coming up short, I'm like, I put myself into a dark area because I'm like, fuck, there's a lot of expectation here now. I've got to deliver. And it's easy to get down that rabbit hole and just blame everything around you, blame yourself and go, fuck it, why do I even do this? Why do I even participate? I should just give up now, you know? And it's easy to, everybody has different scenarios, but the way that you can prepare for them is maybe not doing something directly correlated with it, something completely different, but because you've conditioned yourself of being in situations that you don't want to be in, but you still come out the other side, that's what's going to empower you to get through any sort of environment.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's a great point, because it's like, even though, like, of course I hear you say, do the things you don't want to do, take the cold showers, do an
Ironman. You did it.
Oh, I did it, but that's the thing. Like, I did an Ironman, or I did 2 half Ironman, and I'm like, well, I've done something I don't want to do. I'm conditioned or whatever. And what I definitely felt, it felt like it took that experience for me to really understand what you're saying when you stress the importance of doing things you don't want to do every day, so that you are conditioning that muscle of yours to overcome. Because, yeah, I don't take cold showers because they're uncomfortable, because I don't want to be cold, even though I'm in control of that time when I'm in the cold shower. Now I realize that it's not just about being cold, it's about regulating your breathing, because that is one of the things I noticed that, like, I couldn't seem to regulate that night of darkness. I was just, like, breathing really hard. I was not.
Yeah, and when you do those cold plunges,
yeah,
after a while, it's like, okay, now I'm in a normal environment. The problem is that you feel the bloody heat all the time.
Yeah.
That's a problem. But when you do that, it's like, now, when I have a shower, I'm like, man, this water's not even cold.
Mm-hmm.
But it obviously was or is, but you just don't feel it
Yeah.
anymore because you've just become conditioned to it.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's the other part. Is like, and that's when I realized, wow, I need to definitely, because it's not just about making it through an Ironman. It's about making it through the Ironman of your life.
It's life for sure.
Every day is going to pose a new challenge, and I want to be a good partner. I want to be a calm partner. I don't want to be.
You're gonna have to harden the fuck up then.
No, but it's like there's an expectation I hold of myself, and it's really high. I want to be a good person, and if I cannot overcome my own mind in a scenario as small as being cold, well, having a cold and being cold while camping,
Yeah, it's not good, for sure.
That's not good in general. Like, what makes me think I can, like, do all these other great things if I can't even chill the fuck out on, like, a weekend away? Like, and that's kind of the part where it's a big wake-up call for me.
And it's funny, okay, we're talking about, like, cold and Ironman events and scratching that itch for survival that is built within us. But there's a lot of other things as well, like you said, regulating your breathing. That can come from meditation. Mm-hmm. We think of meditation as being a little bit softer, it's a little bit nurturing, but it's not. That hardens you up as well, because meditation is freaking hard. It's really difficult.
Yeah.
So if you can get through that meditative process where you've kind of mastered it, that takes a lot of mental conditioning. And you see these yogis, you look at Wim Hof. Wim Hof holds, I think, 8 world records now. He's been able to submerge himself in ice for up to 1 hour and 40 minutes. It's a meditative experience that he's got, So it doesn't have to be something like climbing Everest or hitting a Spartan or an Ironman triathlon. It can be other things like your meditation, changing your perception. Think about the war, people in the war. You talk about people who have long-distance relationships. What about these military personnel that go overseas and they cannot even tell their wife where they are? They're not allowed to. You know? That's tough.
Yeah.
And we think we have it tough. Change your perception. We have our limbs, we have our health, we have our eyesight, we have this experience on this earth. As Drew Canole said before, he thinks of the millions of people that are dead and buried right now. He has his opportunity at life right now. He's going to make it the best experience that he can possibly can, based on the survival mechanisms that he preaches, his experience, his fitness, his attitude, training with his wolf pack. There's a lot of survival entities in there that you can apply to live a better life, whatever the condition is, because it's not going to be parties and flowers and polo neck tops and plain sailing. It's going to be difficult. There are going to be surprises, but as my dad always used to say, it's the element of surprise that kicks your ass.
Yeah.
Because like if you get into a fight, for instance, just talking an analogy now, if you get into a fight and you expect that punch to hit you, you're prepared for it. When you don't see that punch coming, you're on the floor.
Yeah. No, I was punched. I was definitely punched in the face that night because I wasn't prepared for how I would feel. But that's kind of where I don't think that's a good reason. Like, you should always be prepared to feel anything, good and bad. We're just not prepared to feel bad. We don't want that. And of course we don't.
It's good to a certain degree because it's a challenge. It's a challenge to feel bad. Well, depending on how you distinguish what that terminology of bad is. Because obviously you did an Ironman.
Yeah.
Can you say that was really pleasurable?
No.
During the time, it's probably pretty bad. You went through some dark places of wanting to give up. There's a lot of pain. But when you went through that, the experience that you had after was a success.
Yeah.
All you had to do was make a sacrifice. You have to chase that sacrifice.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. Like, you can't just check something off your list and say, well, I did something hardcore, so I'm hardcore now.
No, for sure. No. You have to keep that up. And it isn't all of a sudden like you flip a switch. It's consistency. It's like if you meditate for the first time, it isn't as if you're able to meditate. No. You've got to keep it up and then try to master it.
Yeah.
It's a journey. It's a process. It's freaking life. It's
Yeah.
not going to happen in 5 years. Ain't going to happen in 10 years.
No, and I mean, that's kind of the biggest point for me now is like I'm trying to think back of, I guess it's like you think back of like why out of everything I've grown to know, because I'm not like a teenager, to like throw a tantrum, or even a kid to throw a tantrum. I'm a freaking adult and I was throwing a tantrum, and that's embarrassing.
Yeah, you're like my little nieces, you were.
Yeah, it's freaking embarrassing. But it's true, and I did, and I guess it's like, even though it's like I'm ashamed to admit that, I'm admitting that because I hope it can help other people to, kind of point a light that, look, it's not that bad. Unless somebody has died in front of you, it's not that bad, and you're going to feel 10 times worse than in the morning or when the moment passes and you realize how much you've wasted time and energy and created a mess that didn't need to be made.
Sorry, guys. I am interrupting today's podcast to present to you Organifi. Organifi is one of my favorite products that I personally use. And I use the various products such as their greens and their reds. But today I want to talk to you about their Organifi Gold that I take before bed. My clients and I usually crave something soothing and nurturing before bed. And of course, dairy such as yogurt or ice cream is usually out. But ingredients such as coconut milk, turmeric, cinnamon, lemon balm, and ginger in a warm beverage, I find can help reduce stress and induce a nice calming effect to quantify a better night's sleep of deep sleep and REM sleep. So taking the Organifi Gold is one of the best things you can do for recovery and health, and that's exactly what it's designed to do. And the fact that it tastes good is a bonus. You can get 20% off your first order right now by typing in Gethin at your checkout. I've put the link in the show notes below, so all you got to do is type in Gethin at checkout and you will get 20% off your first order. Also, this podcast is brought to you by Laird's Superfood. Now, I was just at Laird's house recently, went through his workout, and this is Laird Hamilton, by the way, and this guy is so enthusiastic and passionate about his health. So, he actually made me a cup of coffee as well with his Laird Superfood Creamer. Now, if you guys have followed me on social for a while, you'll know that I've been using this dairy-free creamer for a while. It has aquamin, beetroot, cacao, chaga mushroom, cinnamon, cloves, coconut milk powder, extra virgin coconut oil in the variety of their different flavored dairy-free creamers. And you can get 20% off your first order right now. Okay, all you got to do is put in Gethin20 to get 20% off that first order. And Juve is another one of our sponsors. As I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, I have been using the Juve infrared light panels for about a year now. And I use them particularly when I don't get exposure to the restorative red light that I can from the sun. And when I'm traveling, I will use their Juve Go panel. So a lot of the time, if I'm overseas and I'm going from expos to seminars, to the hotel, to the airport, I don't get that light. So I'll make sure that I use the infrared light so I can get that restorative red to help with my sleep, to help with inflammation, to help with the production of collagen to my skin. And you can get a free gift right now by typing in Kris, K-R-I-S. You will get that free gift. Or if you go to the show notes, you will see the link to joovv.com/Kris, K-R-I-S, for that free gift. And lastly, this podcast is brought to you by Optimizers as well, the masszymes that I absolutely love. If you go onto their YouTube channel or maybe their website as well, you can actually see the masszymes being put into a water with a steak and showing that steak being broken down. And as I always say, it isn't about what you take in, it's about what you absorb. And if you're a bodybuilder or performance athlete, you need to absorb all the protein or the majority of that protein that you take in, and don't let it just sit in your stomach fermenting and giving you bloatedness or gas. And you can get 20% off masszymes by typing in MASS Zymes, ZYMES.com/Kris20 to get that 20% off. Without further ado, let's get back into the show. Yeah, so let's fast forward now. So that was your camping experience last week. We were supposed to... Yeah, mine that I'll try to forget. So we went camping on the Friday night. And then on the Saturday, thankfully, our good friend Derek from Zenergy Health Club and Spa sorted us out a deal at the beautiful Limelight Hotel that we're going to be having a retreat at as well, and said you can stay here. So we didn't camp that night. I definitely didn't want to sit through that experience again, and neither did you. So we went there. So I'm sure you had a scar in what you termed was camping at that time. But here we are now, a week later. We're camping again. We got to the gorge last night, and beautiful place. I love this place. Beautiful place. And we only decided 24 hours before to come. So I just packed everything quickly. You packed everything quickly, and here we are. We stayed here last night. Got quite a nice setup, I may say. So what is your camping experience this time, and what are the changes?
Well, first of all, I'm not sick anymore, so that's a really huge...
You brought like a lot of blankets. These are just a few of those blankets, by the way. I'm like, you're not going to be cold. Yeah, we're going to be going down. The altitude is completely different here.
At this point, doesn't matter. I do not want to find myself in that situation again. I brought all the warm, woolly socks I could find to put on my hands, on my feet, on my head if I needed to. I brought blankets galore. I came prepared this time to feel uncomfortable. And I was ready for that. Like, if it's going to get cold, I'm ready for that. I brought sleeping pills because I'm like, knock myself out.
No long johns, though. No long johns,
But basically this time I was like, you know what? There's a very high chance that it's not going to be my perfect temperature weather, but I'm not fucking it up this time. You know, I'm going to survive, and we're going to have a good time. And frankly, I was very surprised that you even suggested going camping again so soon after that last.
Well, I just knew that it'd be much better down here, you know. You know, it's a different altitude. Obviously, we're not in the Sawtooth Mountains. We're not high up. We're coming down.
Well, side note, because we went to get breakfast at the bakery in Stanley. This was last week, backing up a little bit. And the guy taking our order was like, so did you guys camp? And we're like, yeah. And he's like, how was it? And we both looked at each other, and he was like, yeah, it was cold, wasn't it? You know, and I'm like, yeah, it was freaking freezing. He's like, yeah, that's how it is around here. And I'm like,
but everyone's doing the same thing.
Everyone's doing the same thing, but they know that. Whereas I feel like I was blindsided by the fact that it was summer. Like, this is just me being ignorant and not doing my research.
Yeah, but this is the thing, see. You have to be ready for those elements of surprises.
Exactly, and I wasn't. You know? And I wasn't. Now I am. Got
And-
20
and-
blankets and fur coat.
And just sidetracking a little bit, see, obviously, neither is right or neither is wrong. Well, Sybil and I come from very, very different upbringings, very different backgrounds, and my thoughts of having a dog in the house all the time is quite different to Sybil's. And it's not that I'm cruel to our dog, because I love Slate to bits. I absolutely love animals. Just don't like little dogs, that's all. And I've grown up with animals all my life. However, I grew up on a farm, and animals, pets, cats, dogs are always outside. And Slate is in the house a lot, but I always thought, like, over the winter time he needs to sleep outside. He's got his shed, so he's not like out
Yeah,
in the
he's not in the
elements.
elements.
And I wanted him as a puppy to just be conditioned to the elements. I'm not going to kill the pup. I know how to bring up an animal. However, Sunshine does feel sorry for Slate a little bit more and has him sleep in the house. Even though we would not agree to that, we would disagree. That's kind of what happened. And, I'm like, okay, I just want to keep the peace. Do whatever you want to do. But, like, Slate was shivering last week when I got him out. Even though he was in blankets, he was shivering. And it's the same thing, I believe. Had he been more conditioned over the winter months to be exposed to the elements, probably wouldn't have been shivering that day, because most dogs, because I've had pit bulls before, remember, not just sheep dogs that have woolly hair, they need to be exposed to that element, whether it be heat, whether it be fitness, conditioning, or cold.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to explain that, but I think it was summer. He hasn't been in the cold because it's summer.
No, I mean over the winter months.
Well, yeah, he did sleep outside a good amount of times. Maybe not as many times as you would have liked, but he definitely did. But I think
That's minimal amount of times, by the way, just in case you're thinking majority listeners.
well, I'll have to keep a calendar.
Sure.
But I think it was just, he was surprised too. Like, he was like, I came from freaking 80 degrees or however many degrees in Boise, and now it's below 50, and I'm outside. Like, I think he was shocked as well. But I think I get where you're coming from, and I get what you're saying about, like, conditioning more than ever now. Like, I think that's one of the things I learned, because it's like, of course, like, I think you're, obviously I think you have a lot of knowledge and wisdom, and I learn from you, but I also have my own opinions.
Sure.
And so I kind of disagreed with you for a long time about the cold shower thing, and I was like, God, that's so dumb. Why are you taking a cold shower and forcing yourself to be cold every day? And then it was only really in being that situation where I couldn't handle it. Like, I literally couldn't handle it, and I was losing my mind, that I was like, oh, that's why. For situations like this that pop up in your everyday life that you don't see coming, you need to be prepared for that, because it's too easy to be comfortable, in your day-to-day routine. You have your car, you can put gas in it, you go from here, you go from there, you're comfortable. And yeah, why would you want to make yourself uncomfortable? Because it's so nice to be comfortable.
And what it is, and one of the reasons as well, is because I want to think about back to our ancestors. We look at all this biohacking technology, and all we really need to do to a certain degree, if we have to hack our environment, for sure, is take back to our ancestors, where they were exposed to the cold. They were exposed to the heat. They had different terrains, and I think obviously the more that we expose ourselves to that, the better. Here we are, funnily enough, I just went in line to have a shower, but there was a huge line there, and I thought, forget it. And then remember, we had my father on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, where he said they would like to have a bath once a week.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can do without a shower for a day. And you know what? We got wet wipes today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll just pretend I don't smell you.
Yeah, and vice versa.
Exactly. But I mean, what made you the way you are to be so determined to, I guess, overcome any sort of mental obstacle like this?
I think it's because, obviously in school, I didn't do well, hated school, and I didn't have an education at all, and I just wanted to be able to prove what the teachers was saying was wrong. I think that was at the beginning because I always had support from my family. So it was always out to prove people, the environment, the universe wrong. A lot of the time, I like that. Like when I'm on social networks and I have haters there, and sometimes I'll acknowledge the haters. A lot of my followers and supporters will say, "Ignore the haters. Don't waste your time." I'm like, no way, no way. I'm giving them my time because a lot, like, of course, it's the support that fuels me. It gives me the accountability, but it's the hate and the naysayers and the negative connotations that come from those people that drive me as well. Like doing the Ironman, they said you can't do an Ironman that size or within that amount of time. Like, fuck it, okay, I'm doing it. You know, you can't do cardio and build muscle. Okay, I'm doing it. You don't have the right genetics. You're going to suck at this. Sign me up. And I like that. I like that. So when people say it can't be done, it's like you're just contorting to the social norms. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that. We are here to survive. There's other people on this earth that we see doing amazing things. So it proves that you can do it. And when Dorian Yates said Lee Haney can be beaten, he has 2 arms and has 2 legs and he's human, why can't I be that guy that beats him, even though everybody says there's no way you can do it? You know, you're white, and had a white man winning the Mr. Olympia since Frank Zane, I believe, and you're from England, no one knows who the fuck you are, you train in this dungeon, you're not available for photo shoots or interviews. Why the fuck are they going to let you win a Mr. Olympia? Guess what he did? He defied what that social norm was. And I just like that drive. I'm glad that I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, because it gives you something to work towards. And it's all about having the purpose. So if you're trying to survive in order to thrive, it gives you purpose, isn't it? If you've got it easy, like you're going to lie on the beach all day, what's your purpose? You're going to die. The universe has no use for you. You have to earn your residency on this earth, and I like that.
Yeah, I like that. No, I'm trying to think of like, how can this be translated to people with like a different energy? Because like you exude like quite a masculine, confident energy, and that's amazing.
I think it comes from the upbringing as well, because like you grew up in Wales, you've been in Wales.
Yeah.
It isn't really, I don't know how you'd even describe it, but it's, you know, especially if you're growing up on a farm, I'd say, as opposed to a city. It's quite a different lifestyle, you know, especially in that culture. And then as opposed to now probably as well. So, you know, obviously I have certain neuro pathways wired into me.
Yeah.
Okay, but for a lot of people, that's why I try to tell people, you need to work out, you need to participate in an event that's uncomfortable, and you need to do it frequently, maybe once a year, give you something to drive towards, where you're going to be transparent as well. You know, you're going to have to put your sincerity on the line and see what you're made of, and doing the little things that you can do at home. Not hitting that snooze button, going to bed at a certain time, not using your fucking phone for the hour before you go to bed, making sure that you're having that cold shower. When your friends are out partying, you're at home doing your work. Because, okay, we're having a party here, but there's 5 years that I didn't take a fucking weekend off. So I've deserved this now. I feel that I can take this time off. I'm at a time at my age now where I don't want to work fucking long hours as I once did, you know? So I think if you
work a lot smarter now too.
a little bit smarter, but like making those sacrifices. Think of a sacrifice that you can make today and every single day that's going to empower you, that's going to make you feel stronger, that you are not going to fucking necessarily like. What is it that is going to make you uncomfortable? Because a human body and brain is amazing at adaptation. That's why you train heavier, do different exercises, train with more intensity week after week, month after month, so you can evolve physically. What can you do to evolve mentally, though?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess everybody's going to have a certain answer pop up in their head that's been, like, gnawing at them, right? Whether it is the snooze button. Like, for me, that is definitely a big one. Like, if you're not home and I'm waking up by myself, I'm hitting that snooze button all the time. And
Look at Jacko Willing.
Yeah.
You know, he talks about the importance of not having a delay characteristic in the morning where you hit a snooze button, because that will cause procrastination throughout the rest of your day.
And I've read that, and you've told me that, and I know that, yet I still choose the snooze.
See, that's a problem. Some people are students of learning. Don't learn it unless you're going to apply it. Don't even waste your time.
It's that energy behind applying it, and I think that's kind of one of the things that like I want to like conjure and like maybe help other people because because
Stop you 1 second
Okay.
before you carry on with
Okay.
that. Put out your pros and cons list, okay? Not for now, but maybe from 50, 40 years from now, okay? Are you going to regret getting up first thing in the morning and attacking your day, being uncomfortable, or are you going to regret hitting the snooze button more? Probably hitting
It's
the snooze
definitely
button
going to be
and
that.
sleeping in.
Definitely going to be that. Because, I mean, I think back to the times when I was studying in Florence. I hit that snooze button every day. And I'm really sad that I didn't, enjoy the Florence, the Italian morning. Because the Italian morning is so beautiful.
Smell of strong coffee.
Well, the smell of strong coffee and the hustle and bustle, the frutti vendello, everybody setting up their markets. And there's a time in the morning that's shared with the people at the coffee shop, at the cafe, that you don't get at lunch and at dinner or whatever. It's that time. And it's the same, I guess it's the same in Boise. I mean, maybe not in Barcelona. That was a really late city. But the morning time is a special time. And it's obvious to say. So of course, I think back on that and I'm like, God, I wish I was more of a go-getter. But instead, my schedule is wake up at 7 or 8, and then I'd be up until 3 or 4 or 5 in the morning. That was just kind of, I guess, maybe my student schedule. But I still think back on that. So yeah, of course, hitting the snooze button is never going to be something when you're 90 years old. You're like, God, I'm so glad I snoozed my way through life. But it's making that decision, because everybody who's listening can maybe say yeah, that's me. Maybe not everybody, but there's some people listening that that's one of my biggest issues is I hit the snooze and I'm not consistent with my wake up times, and so I miss the gym, or I miss meditation, or I miss just having calm in the morning because I wake up just stressed and having to rush out the door.
Yeah, because a lot of the time people wake up tired.
Yeah.
Okay, if you wake up tired, what is going to be the first thing that your body and brain is telling you? Sleep.
Go back.
Yeah, so you have to create that disciplinary action of waking up in the morning, and that is the only way that you can get to bed earlier at night, by being exhausted. Otherwise, you'll just prolong it and stay up until after midnight again and fall into that same trap day after day.
Well, and I think it's thinking, I've thought a lot about that first thought that goes into my mind. When the alarm goes off, if you're not there and you're not waking me up, and the alarm, because when you come to wake me up, okay, I wake up. That's...
Well, you're waking up to me, so how can you not want to get up and experience this?
Exactly. But if it's just the alarm, the first thought that goes in my head is, nah, not worth it. Snooze that shit. Another 30 minutes, another 25 minutes, another minute. Even if I sometimes snooze for 5 minutes, which is ridiculous. And I realized if I changed my thought to, it's so good to wake up, so thankful my eyes are waking up right now and I'm here, because it is a blessing to wake up, the small act in itself. If I can just change that thought, I'm more likely to get up and not participate in the snooze fest. But it's acknowledging, what is your first thought in the morning? Are you telling yourself, go back to bed? Are you telling yourself, this day's not worth it? You're telling yourself you're not ready to start the day? If you're telling yourself that, of course, it's going to, follow through.
Yeah, it's going to be procrastination. Yeah. Anyway, so...
But yeah, camping's freaking awesome.
Now it is, because it's in an environment that you can be prepared for, but you just need to prepare for the unexpected.
That's it, yeah.
And one thing that was really, really helpful for me was having a discussion with Dad a couple of weeks ago and getting him on the podcast, where he said there was no warmth in the house except for in the kitchen. He said often they would wake up in the morning in the bedroom and the ice would be on the inside of the window, because there's no heating in there.
That's so crazy.
And so you think back to that, it's okay, that experience that we had in the camping, or what you had, could possibly be close, not the same, because obviously you were sick, but what about when my dad and his brothers were sick? They had to sleep in those conditions.
Yeah.
Where it's frigging cold. I remember my dad said that to keep them warm, sometimes they'd have I think it was a Castrol GTX oil tin filled with hot water, and they'd just put their feet on that in the bed to keep them warm. So you think about what we have today, because we've got it so easy and we're in an environment where we have heat, we have cold when we need it. When we experience something like that, we're not prepared. But you're kind of prepared at a default in that day and age for what's to come in the future. You know, and maybe that's why they say one of the reasons why this generation is going to have the shortest lifespan that we've ever experienced.
Oh, wow.
You know, even though there's more medication,
Yeah.
there's more Medicare, there's more help to assist people through disease and stuff like that. We're just becoming obviously exposed to other diseases and other environmental factors, but becoming soft to our environment as well. And do whatever you can today to make yourself harder to kill.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it just fits for everybody. And it's not just guys. It's not just guys who need to be like harder to kill. It's freaking everybody, because it's really not like, as in this day and age, we're not necessarily going to get killed physically. The chances are smaller. That's not to say people don't get killed every day, but in this, we're not out in the wild trying to survive, not get eaten by animals or that sort of thing. But in this day, it's our minds that are killing us. It's trying to be harder to kill than your mind will want to.
But you still have to condition yourself physically.
Physically, yes, but the physical conditioning also helps with the mental conditioning.
And it comes from your mind first.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of where it's like, for females especially, like, I mean, females need to be like stronger too in their mind. Because I mean, there's so many hormonal issues that come up with like with everything. Like, women just deal with more hormonal fluxes than men.
Sure.
And you hear about that woman, who goes crazy during her time of the month, or who just whatever, off and on, moody. And it's just kind of, that's an act, I think, of not regulating yourself, because females need to be aware that they are going to feel off more than men because of that, just biologically. So I think that's a good strategy. Like, what would you say, like, if somebody has never ever practiced conditioning themselves, what would be the first thing they'd try?
Well, like I said
Would it be
a little
the
bit
snooze?
earlier. Yeah, it could be the snooze if that is the itch that is bothering you. It all depends. Everybody's got different issues that they're dealing with. Maybe it's because they go to maybe it's social gatherings. Maybe it's going out partying on the weekends. They have to condition themselves, maybe separate themselves from that social environment, much like what I did. And you just say no. Consider the future. Are those people that are asking you to go out and party and do drugs and drink every weekend going to be there when you're 80 or 90 to support you? Probably not. So you shouldn't accept their support right now, that quote-unquote support, because it's not supporting your future. You can have balance for sure. You can enjoy yourself every now and again. But if it's something that's internally bothering you, that's a priority that you need to tap. Maybe you create something that is going to keep you busy that weekend. Maybe you're going to assign a project, so you just cannot go out. You just cannot do it. You have to condition yourself in a different way that is going to penetrate your weakness. I can tell you, the cold shower is going to have an effect. Participating in an endurance event, whether it be a 5K, 10K, triathlon, Spartan, whatever it may be, can help. Because it's going to condition you physically and mentally to deal with doing things that you don't want to do. Weight training is definitely a part of that for me. It's therapeutic, yes, but it gets me to encounter pain and enjoy it. Tattoos, you can do the same. Some say that's painful. To me, it's not, because I kind of enjoy it. It's therapeutic. There's other pains out there that I don't like. Maybe I should get waxed more often. I fucking hate that, you just got a scratchy itch of uncomfortability. I don't know what that uncomfortability is for you. Whatever it is, write it out and find out some sort of attacking mechanism that you're going to apply to squash it.
I mean, another one comes to mind for me personally is yoga. Yoga is something I've been wanting to do my entire life. But I freaking hate yoga.
Really?
Because it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard, but
it's mentally hard.
Which is funny, because when we've done yoga before together, quite a few times now, I think you're really, really good at it. Very flexible.
Yeah, maybe I have a natural flexibility, but I deal with like like there's a bit of a boredom that sets in because I'm not good at it.
Yeah, see, yeah, there's a couple of things. This is where it's quite interesting because I'm not good at it. I'm like, okay, this is good because it gives me so much room to grow. Where you're quite good at it, just not as good as the other people.
I'm not amazing. I want to be a superstar. And I think that's tough because I have...
It's the process.
It is. And that's one of the things I noticed that, like, for me, if I'm doing something and I want to quit early, not because I can't do it, but because I'm bored, because I'm not best, that's when I realize that's a mental hurdle I need to overcome.
It's a crazy hurdle because, like, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be a business owner, if you want to be a physical specimen, if you want to meditate, yoga, whatever it is, it's a fucking long process. Can't compare yourself to someone who achieved that in 3 years because it may take you 13. So you can't sell yourself short because you didn't reach there on time.
Yeah.
But you have to enjoy the process, much like if you're getting ready for a bodybuilding show. Don't think about the final outcome. Be present for the process.
Yeah.
You know, it's what you decide to do today is what's going to dictate tomorrow. Don't think about 3 months from now. Think about today.
Yeah.
And focus on that.
Well, and and I think that's kind of the big part. It's like, it's in some respect, I mean, there are different trains of thoughts. It's easier to start something than it is to finish.
Of course.
Because nobody wants to go through like if it's a 12-week transformation, nobody wants to go through week 7 to 11. That's the time people are like, forget it. And I remember just like observing Danielle and Kai, like when you were doing the 12-week transformation with them. And I just loved what Danielle said, is that she never got past week 6 or something. That's when she would like quit. And that she'd never finish her transformation or whatever. And I'm like, you're not alone. Because that, whether it's yoga training, whether it's art, whether it's business, it doesn't have to be like just fitness where you quit. Most people quit at like that midpoint because they haven't seen improvements. And you know what? You didn't. Like with Danielle, it was like week 7 to 11. That was like, boom. All of a sudden she was like a new person. But it's going through that like hump of uncomfortability physically and mentally and just like pushing yourself through it that I think, where you finally start seeing the light.
Yeah, for sure. Because, like, look, she said that she got to week 6 like so many times on different programs, myself and other people's. Yet she accomplished this, so she got uncomfortable. She got comfortable being uncomfortable, and now look at her. She still looks great months later.
Yeah.
Because now she's felt empowered and she knows what it's like to get through those uncomfortable processes and saying no and not getting controlled by her environment.
Well, and I don't even recognize her. Like from day one, Danielle, to now, do not recognize her. And same with Kai. And I mean, I think that's kind of the, like, the transformation I want to see in myself mentally. And I mean, I have in certain areas, of course. But I mean, I never want it to stop because there are new things that are going to come up all the time. Like I know, like even with the skincare business, like I'm going to reach another point of despair and like freaking out and like, things are going to go wrong. And will I be that person I was camping and create a complete chaos, or will I actually learn from that? And of course I want to learn from that. And it's going to go the same for everything. Like, will I go through that hurdle? And of course I want to. But I think that's kind of the part where it's like these cold showers, snooze, that's just helping like cement the resolve that like I'm not going to be that person that just holds up my little flag in surrender.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a great podcast. No, it has been. Like, we've been going for almost an hour now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
So it's a good conversation, especially in this environment because it's comfortable and can have a shower.
I don't mind the non-shower thing.
No, I do mind it.
Do you?
Yeah, you stink.
Oh.
I wish we had more than one packet of wet wipes, dude. But
I wish we had a whole towel of wet wipes.
But anyway, thank you very much for this podcast again, 3rd time.
Yeah, I feel quite lucky.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, this is a good place to do it as well. Quite different. We just thought we'll bring the recording equipment just in case and see what happens. I'm glad we brought it along anyway. So thank you ever so much for watching.
Yeah, thanks for
and
joining.
for listening. And until next time, that is the Knowledge and Mileage Podcast.
It is, and I just do want to add that if I'm sure you guys have heard about the health and fitness retreat coming up in October at Zenergy Health Club and Spa in Sun Valley. So this is going to be October 9th through the 13th. If you haven't, this is the world's first bodybuilding, biohacking, health and fitness retreat. That's really a good boot camp for the rest of your life. And this is definitely going to be an uncomfortable situation in that, like, you're going to be eating healthy, you're going to be meditating, you're going to be bodybuilding, you're going to be learning, and it's going to be life changing. Like that's the theme that just keeps coming up in my mind, and I'm so excited for everybody that is already joining us. We still have a few spots left.
Yeah.
And
Got two more people signed up yesterday.
yeah. So we'd love to have you join us. There's a number you could call. It's 1-208-725-5384. Talk to Derek, or you can email info@zenergysv.com. That's Zenergy with a Z, SV.com. And
we'll put that phone number and
link
in the show notes as well. And about the retreat as well. It's funny, I was speaking to Kris Cavallini, the CEO of Nutrition Solutions, who's providing nutrition solutions for this retreat. It's all inclusive. Obviously the food, the coffee, the hotel, your massage, and obviously everything else that goes along with it. And when I was speaking to Kris Cavallini about this, I said, well, it's going to be quite pricey because of all the inclusivity, and it's going to be, like you said, a life-changing experience. And he said, Kris, don't hide behind the price. It is so cheap what they're going to get. Ask yourself, and people should ask themselves, how much are they going to pay for not attending this retreat?
Right.
And I like that because a lot of people would say, well, it could be quite pricey, or it's in another country. Can you do it in this country? Well, people go on holidays in other countries. They will spend a lot of money on alcohol and lazing out on a beach. This isn't that.
Yeah.
It is something that you can take away from this and apply for the rest of your life. And people have asked me if I'll train them personally and help them one-on-one. I don't do that. I haven't offered that for several years now. So there's that opportunity that I'll do that. I'll bring all of this information to one place for several days. And this will be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity because I'm not doing it again.
Yeah.
It's this year. It takes a lot of work.
It's a ton of work.
I don't have the amount of time to do this again. It's been quite a big challenge.
Yeah, and I mean, I think one of the things to remember is that, like, you will be taking time off from all your other businesses during this retreat just to give your undivided attention to everybody there. It's not going to be like, oh, you're only going to be there from 9 to 2. You're going to be there all day long, helping, answering questions, chatting. And I mean, if this is something that you've been looking for, then this is it. This is your year. You just have to decide, is this going to be your year, or are you going to put it off for another time? Your call. But I really hope that this is it for you.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
so now it's the end of the Knowledge and Mileage podcast. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. Thank you for coming back on again, Sunshine.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for joining me for this podcast, guys. I hope you really enjoyed it and got a lot of information from it. I just want to finish off by giving you some more information about Masszymes by Bioptimizers. It is a complete and probably the most potent digestive enzyme I've ever seen or experienced, with over 102% more proteins than the nearest competitor. So not only does it contain more proteins, it contains 13 additional enzymes, including lipase for fat digestion, which work at every pH level from 1 to 12. In other words, at every stage of digestion. And you can try it today, risk-free, and their 365-day full money-back guarantee is obviously the gold standard in the industry. And you can get that 20% discount off your order right now by typing in Kris20, okay? All you got to do is masszymes.com Kris20 to get that 20% off order, okay? And if you don't feel how Masszymes help you upgrade your digestion and power through your food and your workouts, their support team will give you a no questions asked refund. So thank you very much for joining me, guys. Until next week, we are out.